they're not things you're thinking. You don't think what you're saying. Like, well, I hope you don't, because you used to call me a fat so.
Hi guys, welcome back to Seat 4. I'm Lauren, and this is the podcast where we talk all things that should have stayed in the group chat. This week, I'm super excited to be joined by some special guests. Today we have Jodie and Nicole, who are going to be sharing with us what it's like to live with Tourette's. Just before we kick off, if you're new here, please be sure to give us a like, rating, follow, hit that notification bell, and share this podcast with all your friends. If you have any feedback or funny stories for us, please also send them to us at tics4@junglecreations.com. We'll see you there. So, Jodie, Nicole, would you mind introducing yourself for us?
Hi, my name is Jodie. I post awareness and lots of videos about my journey of mumhood and my daughter having Tourette's.
Yeah, I'm just Nicole.
I'm just me.
Yeah, just me.
So, Nicole, how old are you? What are you doing in life? What's your story?
I'm 16. I have Tourette syndrome. Currently doing college. But yeah, that's about it. Spun me on that, my friend.
Love it. Living for it. So, I've got to ask, Tourette syndrome, was this something like you developed from a young age? Is it something that's come up recently? And like, how did it manifest?
Would you say recently? No,
it's nearly 4 years. Yeah. Nicole woke up literally the week of her 13th birthday, ticking. Didn't know what it was, and it just continued on. We obviously sought advice, medical advice, etc. I don't want to rehash the story too much for those that already know it, but essentially, she had vocal and motor tics. You have to have a combination of both of those for at least 12 months to be classed as having Tourette's. So in the January or the February, wasn't it, you got diagnosed officially with having Tourette's. It is a neurological condition and it is genetic. So it's something that was potentially always just there, just sort of dormant, and something at the age of 13 triggered it. So.
Oh my God, what was that like for you? Did you even like settled into the idea it could be Tourette's, or was it like a habit? Or
I don't know, because I obviously I was 13. Like, I honestly didn't actually know what was going on. My nan was staying with us at the time, and she was like, "You've got a thing called tics. Like, it's just you just tick." And I was like, "I don't know what that is." Like, and I'd never looked it up. I didn't really like do anything like that, because it wasn't like something, you know, that I really thought about. Like, it was just, I just thought I had a tick or something. But I was confused, and then obviously the longer it stayed, the more confused I was, and it just didn't make any sense to me on what was going on.
Would you say the tics that you have are like purely observational, or are they things that are like maybe down in your subconscious, like the verbal tics? Is this something you thought about, or is it purely like completely out of your control?
There's lots of things. Like, there's things I've said like in like conversations to people that I've like ticked out, or like I said something about Katniss Everdeen. I've never seen the movie. I don't know who she is.
She's never watched Hunger Games, and she's got the tick.
I don't know who she is.
And also,
really?
you had the it
I
tick,
don't know who
didn't
she
you?
is.
I don't know her.
You had the it tick.
Oh yeah, I had an it tick.
She won't
I've
watch
never
scary
watched.
films.
I hate
She's
them.
Never
What's
watched
the it
it.
I can't even watch
like
Smile.
Georgie.
I can't. No.
Oh, do you want to balloon Georgie?
Oh,
she had that as a
Christ.
tick, and she would come out.
No,
and
but
she'd be like, and it's so bang on when she ticks. Her ticks are like literally.
Oh my God.
What?
Like with the voice and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's done French ticks. She's ticked in French.
I
And we're
can't-
like, what have you
I
just
can't
said?
even speak French.
She's bilingual. That's amazing.
I can't speak French. I can barely say hello.
Wow.
What is hello actually?
But I do, it does. I do think that it is stuff that is so deep in the subconscious that she doesn't even know that, you know, like if you see something, like she had some tics for a while. You were watching like loads of war stuff, weren't you, with Nanny Ivy? And then about 4 weeks later, she started doing this whistling tick and then an explosion at the end, like a bomb.
God.
And I was like, where have you got that tick from? Like, what is that about? And then we were thinking about things and I was like, oh my God, do you remember you were watching all that war stuff with Nanny Ivy?
Wow.
Like, so I feel like sometimes things come out when she's not thinking about it, because they're not things you're thinking. You don't think what you're saying. Like, well, I hope you don't, because you used to call me a fat so, like, do you know what I mean? So like some of the stuff she says is savage.
So obviously these kind of tics, you've created obviously a safe space at home as a mum. How do you even like learn to completely adapt to a whole nother thing of motherhood, looking after someone that's life is kind of, I don't want to say stunted, but it's probably made you less independent? Would you say?
Massively.
Would you say?
It's really difficult trying to find a balance, really
Right.
difficult. And every stage, I feel like we were getting somewhere with a stage of Nicole's life and learning about school and how I was coping with school. And now she's at college and she's getting older. It's really hard now readjusting and rebalancing myself
Right.
because essentially I'm on call 24/7 for Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole lives in a little bubble of life's breezy and brilliant, whereas I'm on like anxiety levels up here constantly for when she calls me or texts me that she needs me because she started ticking.
Yeah.
So I kind of take all of that on myself so that she can live her life and be like breeze easy.
Well, I guess that's a good thing. Nicole, do you feel like your life is pretty ordinary?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'd say that pretty decent, actually.
Yeah. So with the tics, say for example, if they come up at school or like around people you're not that comfortable with, how do you prefer people respond to them?
Everyone's very different. Like I have a very vast kind of friend group. Like everyone's very different in how they react to it. People ignore me. Which don't really like it mid conversation. If I like tick mid conversation, they like almost don't even like react. There's like they literally have no expression on their face. They just carried on the conversation. Some people laugh and like think, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's so funny." Obviously, when it's actually funny and not like physical.
Yeah.
I think
All of you've just punched yourself in the face. That's hilarious.
but like some people don't get it. Like there's this one boy in my class. He's absolute sweetheart, and he turned around and I ticked at him, and he went, "What?" And I went, no, that wasn't me. And he was like, okay. And then he turns around and then I whistled at him and he went, what? And I was like, no, I didn't need to talk to you. And he was like, okay. And then he kept turning around and then I'd whistle at him because obviously it's not a different person. My Tourette's is still me.
Yeah.
So obviously I know that he's going to turn around if I whistle at him, and he whistled. I whistled at him and he went, and then he whistled back and I went, no. Don't do that. And he was like, oh, okay.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
he kind of gets it now, bless him. But it's very different with everyone. Like mum thinks everything I say is hilarious. The boys,
I really do.
my brothers, they're kind of like in the middle. Like sometimes they react to it, sometimes they just like won't. But
you can be really offensive, and they were a lot younger. So trying to like get them to learn as well as a family that anything she says,
Right.
she doesn't mean it. And now I guess we're like nearly 4 years on and they get it now, don't they? Like, I don't know.
Freddie's more emotional though. Like Freddie and Jaden, they're very different. Jaden doesn't even bat an eyelid anymore. Like I was mid having a tic attack and he comes out and says, "Mum, can I have a bag of crisps?"
That's because he's on the spectrum.
Okay.
So he can only see what's going on.
Sure.
He's very like tunnel vision focused on what he's dealing with. So yeah, she was having a tic attack and he was coming in like, "Can I have a cookie?" And I'm like, "Mate, I'm middle of something right now. Can we get a cookie in a minute?"
He was like, "Yeah, but I want one now." And we're like, "Okay, mate, off you go." And then he goes and he comes back in, "Thanks, Mum, I'm going upstairs now."
Yeah,
And he shuts the door, goes upstairs.
completely oblivious. Whereas Freddie's like, "Oh my God, does she need water? Do I need to get her anything?"
He can't.
Yeah.
It's so
Wow.
cute.
Have there been any like memorable moments or any funny little?
Oh my God, we had workmen at home. It was
When?
really bad. When you were at school and you came home ticking from school, I collected you from school.
When I said, "Oh my God, is that the there was a Mackey's thing," and then I went, "Callum can't have that. He can't run." Didn't I say that? Was that the same time?
I have no idea what one you're on about. No, I was going to say the one where I hadn't warned these workmen because I never know whether to warn people or not.
Sure.
It's really awkward because it depends whether she's ticking bad or not ticking bad. Actually, there's another one I've just thought of, which is quite funny. So this first one, I went to collect her from school. She was ticking really badly, came home. The two guys were outside, but if they'd been inside, I probably would have gone in and then just said, "Just so you know, my daughter's got Tourette's," right? But it was too late. As we come walking down the stairs, she's like, "My mum loves anal." And I'm like... and they burst into hysterics, and I was like, and she was like, she just carried on walking.
Oh, it wasn't even
By
the way, that was not me. That was just
I'm ticking or I've got Tourette's. She just kept walking.
I went in and had a bagel. I was like,
And I was
"No."
like,
Oh my God.
now I'm in the point of like, do I confirm this? Do I say, "No, I don't"? Or do I say, yeah, I do. Like,
Oh my
what do you
God.
say?
But it's
Like,
even
how
funny-
do you reply?
You have got good humour because I know that you would have walked away just like, I'm going to leave them with that
Yeah,
one.
she totally
There wasn't
does.
by the way, that
There was
wasn't-
another workman.
Mate,
that came
you deal with
round.
it yourself. It's about you.
There was, literally, it's always me. Although this one, do you remember when you'd cut your finger? Well, I don't even think you
my
had cut
God.
your finger. And
This poor man in our house, I was upstairs and I'd cut my finger earlier that day.
Yeah.
And I was in my room and I was really ticky. And this guy was downstairs. Wasn't he doing the windows? He was doing something.
I can't remember.
And mum was offering him teas and stuff. I was like, oh, you're right. And then mum goes, oh, you're right, Nicole. I went, I'm dying. I'm bleeding out. Help me. And then
she's like,
this guy turns to mum and is like, are you not going to go?
Are you going to go and check her? I'm like, she's fine. She's not bleeding out. She's fine. It was just so
I
bad.
had a paper cut.
Yeah,
Oh my
literally.
God.
But see, Nicole will go and sit in her room and listen to some music and try and chill and relax. And so I'll just keep shouting to her, are you good? Do you need me? Like, do you know what I mean? To try and give her that bit of independence so that she's kind of self-managing, if you like, because there's nothing I can physically do for her anyway. So I just kind of have to be around to make sure she's safe.
Yeah.
So of course I was just shouting up to her, you're all right? She's like, no, I'm bleeding everywhere. I'm gonna die.
And then after that I'd go, yeah.
And then she's normal, and then she's like, yeah, I'm fine, and then starts ticking again. I mean, like in restaurants, we can be in restaurants and she shouts stuff like, my mum's got syphilis.
No, I think the school ones are better, personally.
But then what the first time she did that, she was about, you must have been about 14 when we were in whatever restaurant it was.
I knew what syphilis
Yeah,
was,
exactly.
Didn't even
And
know
then
anything
she
about
says it,
sex.
and then
So-
she goes, Mum, what's syphilis? And I'm like, oh, this is so bad.
And then we're
my
sat in a
God.
restaurant eating dinner. Everyone is eating dinner, the whole family. And I go, Mum, what is syphilis? And she
Yeah,
goes,
I'm like, we'll discuss
she
that.
goes, we'll talk about it later. And I'm like, okay.
Not
The
now.
school ones are better though, because I went to school, yeah, getting that
Nice.
education. So I went to school and I had this head teacher, and we had two head teachers in the time that I was there. Now this one head teacher, he was really old, like he was going into retirement, like, you know, he was going.
Right.
So he had left and he was lovely. Like he thought my Tourette's was hilarious.
Nice.
And my head of year had been there from the start to when I left. And I went round and I started a rumour by accident because I was ticking. And I went, the reason why he fucking left was because he was sleeping with Miss Roberts. And then everyone was like, really? And obviously I ticked and was like, yeah. And like,
Tics can start literal rumours.
I'd call her a stripper. She had these heels on, right? And she had really high heels on. She always did. It was just something that she had. And I'd call her a stripper. And I'd say the reason why he left was because she was the stripper and that she was his stripper. And it was, everyone believed me.
Honestly,
as well.
though, the other problem with her tics, right, which is a big problem, is telling her things, which also
Can't
does
keep
affect
secrets.
your
Right.
relationships with friends and boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if you tell Nicole something,
It's in
if
there.
she's ticking,
Yeah.
It's gone, mate.
you're done.
Shit.
You're
Right.
done.
Like my friend told
Mother's
me.
Day, I know what I'm getting before. Like she'll tell everybody. But was it
bad.
last year that you were like, I'm allergic to bananas, right?
Right.
Allergic to bananas. And Freddie, she was like, Freddie's got your banana. I was like, that's not fucking funny, is it? Like what? What for Mother's Day? And she's like, he has. And she was like ticking all this stuff. And Freddie was like, I haven't. And I was like, what a ridiculous tick. At least this year you're not actually telling me what people have got. He turns up on Mother's Day with a mug with a banana on it. I was like, so she literally ticked what he had got me, but hadn't quite told me the whole story.
So do you feel like you can't always decipher when it's a tick and when it's...
No, I always know when you're ticking,
Right.
bar maybe minimal times.
Yeah, and you've
probably.
gone, was that you?
Yeah, and I'm like,
no.
seriously, like, but I do know when she's ticking.
Yeah.
But yeah, she will. It's difficult when she's ticking, when she's like saying something that like that with the banana. So
Yeah.
she's saying he's got me a banana, which he had.
Yeah.
But it was a mug. Like you told me that Jaden had got me a tortilla wrap, didn't you? And I was like, what? Why has he bought me a tortilla wrap? Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He'd bought me a massive blanket, which was a tortilla blanket.
Right.
So, like, she'll tick it,
Yeah.
But not actually say what it is.
but not actually be descriptive.
It's so interesting. It literally is what's in your subconscious, right?
I feel like it's got to be back there.
Yeah.
It's got to be, because it's stuff that, like, you're not actually thinking, and it's not something you would be like. We all have a filter. Well, not me particularly, but most of us have a filter before you say something, don't you? And I just feel like there's all this information and all this stuff that you have stored in the back of your head that just can come out, that Nicole hasn't even had a chance to filter, because
secrets are different though. Like my friend told me at school,
when she fancied someone and then
she
you
fancied someone,
ticked it.
and we were friends with him. And obviously I got up to him, like I was quite friendly with the boy, and she comes over and she's like, oh, you're right, like all like weird. And I went, did you know she fancies you? And he went, what?
Oh, so bad.
He went, what? And I pinched her and I was like, do not react. You've got to pretend that you didn't. Because if you react and you're like, no, I didn't. Like, why are you saying that? It looks so bait.
Right.
So you've got to go, oh my God, that was so funny, Nicole. Imagine, like, you've got to act like really like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I've said this to all my friends. Like I've said, do not react, because if you react, it just shows. And the thing is, the more you react, the more my tics will go,
Oh, really?
well, okay, and will react more. Like if you're like, oh no, Nicole, shut up, I will immediately be quiet and I won't talk.
Oh my God.
And like it calms down.
What about that time? There's a lady that I'm really not friends with anymore. So I can say this, it's fine.
Sure.
I'm not friends with her at
No,
all.
you can't say that. No.
I can say what I want, actually. So I'm not friends with her at all.
Yeah.
Nicole's tics.
We're
were
not
like,
saying her name, right?
Yeah.
What?
That's in the tick. So she used to be part of the charity that I run a charity, right? I
Okay.
rescue and rehome dogs. So she used to be part of this charity that I work with. And she's not a very nice person. She doesn't volunteer for us anymore. Don't like her. Anyway, so of course Nicole is in the conversations of me saying I don't like this person. She's not a nice person. Not really a fan. I'm doing a video. Nicole starts ticking, we hate Suzanne. Oh, we hate Suzanne. And I'm like,
We also saw her as well when we were collecting dogs.
this is
and I started
so bad.
ticking. I was like, we hate Suzanne. And she was like, Nicole, shut up. And I was like,
oh, she's literally outside the car. Nicole's like, sound of the police. We hate Suzanne. And I was like, what the? That doesn't even make any sense. Like, what are you
Remember
ticking?
when the
my
police
God.
turned up at the door and I was like, the sound of police.
Yeah,
whoop,
she
whoop.
did. Yeah, she did.
No context to that story.
No.
Just the police turned up at the door. Yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
I can't remember. What did you do? Did they find out about who? Did they find out about that
What
body?
did you do? Oh, no. Stop it.
Yeah.
What's that dripping from the
I
ceiling?
don't remember what that was now.
Oh yeah, I remember when we got broken into and you were really scared.
Yeah,
that
we did
was
get
really
broken
funny
into.
actually.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah,
I was sound
hilarious.
asleep.
Yeah, hilarious.
Jokes. Yeah.
Lol.
Are there any like so an occasion like that? Say if you hate someone, you've said something out loud, or maybe said the wrong thing. Have you ever like blamed your tics and it's just really like, no, I generally think that.
But the thing is, I don't even need to say it. Like if I don't like you, I'll probably go, I fucking hate you. But then I'll go, that's interesting, isn't it? Like, and you're like, and everyone's like, wait, do you actually? And I'm like, no. No, like, but you can tell when I'm like being sincere about it. I'm like, no, that wasn't genuinely
Right.
But if I don't like someone, I just will not associate myself with them.
Yeah, you
Fair.
just don't hang around with people.
No.
I think that's what my thing. You, like, just don't
People
waste
have
your
said it
energy.
though. People have been
What's the
like, have you ever blamed your tics on like something you've said? And I'm like, no. If I've said something, I will admit that I've
Yeah,
said
she
it.
owns it.
Nice.
Like,
nice.
but I don't need to say it. If I don't say it, my tics will say it for me. So
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah, love it. I always wonder, so on the podcast we talk a lot about like dating. Have you thought about like how that might affect you in that sense? Or
I've been in relationships while having Tourette's, obviously. I wouldn't even consider being with someone that had a problem with it.
sure.
But I've had a few relationships and obviously everyone is very different in how they deal with it. Some people laugh, but it depends also in my comfortability with them as well. But I've never had a problem with relationships with my Tourette's, friendships as well. Like I've never had a problem.
Yeah.
And if they have too much of a problem and it has something to do with my Tourette's, I wouldn't even consider being with them or even being friends with them if they had that kind of issue. Like, yes, sometimes I feel a bit like, oh my God, like I'm so weird because I have Tourette's, but then I have enough, like, I'm more confident in that sense that I'm like, I'm not going to be with someone that's going to be like picking on me because of my Tourette's. Like, it just don't work.
I feel like you're extremely confident. Like,
Thanks.
I feel like I used to be such an overthinker, but you seem very like self-assured.
I'm glad that the mask
She's
is
blagging
honestly
it
really
really
well, right?
I can't tell. Really well. She's doing
Yeah.
really well because she is very, I like to think that she's getting more confident. And I
Yeah.
think that things like this and being able to speak out about it is helping her confidence.
Definitely.
And I think actually sharing everything that we do online is helping her confidence.
Yeah.
But still, if we're out and about, you literally will cling on to either me or Callum
I'm really
to be
bad like
like
that.
our safe
Right.
space, because she could be walking past someone and tick something at them, and then you've got to deal with if that person turns around and says, "What did you say?" Because then it's a
It's
whole
great
nother.
when I'm with my dad though, because he's like a proper stocky bloke. So I'm
Right.
like, you come at my dad then. Come on then.
But you are getting more confident, but. Yeah, you proper acted like you were like, yeah, I'm sound.
Yeah, I'm
no,
sound,
she's
mate.
not.
Right.
Yeah.
In public, that's different. Dating, that's very different as well.
Yeah, because that's inside and that's doing
My own thing.
yeah.
on that. Yeah,
I get what you're
glad
saying.
you're on the same
Yeah.
page.
Mm. I mean, you said like you got the medical advice, but how easy is that to get a diagnosis of
Really
something
difficult.
like this? Yeah.
Really, really difficult. So Nicole started ticking in the first week of March, but that was literally a month before the first ever lockdown.
Oh my God.
So just as I was seeking medical advice and everything started to shut down and everybody was like on the whole pandemic saga, and so trying to get any sort of doctors, hospitals, anything was an absolute disaster. So it was emails to and fro with me having to send them video footage of Nicole, which is why my journey started with filming her, was because I had to have the video footage in order to share it with the doctors and the professionals to let them see what was going on, because obviously you couldn't go and visit a doctor, you weren't allowed to do face to face. And you just got worse, didn't you? You were physical tics to start with, which was like hands, neck, face, head, and then it started with vocal tics, and then you were saying things that you couldn't help say, weren't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I feel like the Tourette's we know, or the tics we know, a lot of them are like offensive language and the swearing stuff. Did you find that was the case with you, or did it come up in other forms?
Have it. I didn't have any kind of swearing until I had a 7-hour tic attack, and then that's when all the swearing came out, and it was like I was calling the ambulance like pricks and knobheads, and like it was
paramedics
bad.
got absolutely blasted, didn't they? Yeah, she that was when it was about 6 months after she'd started ticking, and then she had a really bad, what we now know they're called tic attacks, when essentially Nicole ticks every single day, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Some days are worse than others, and tic episodes can then continue on for a long period of time and be more extreme. And usually Nicole, with her tic attacks, they're more violent and they're quite aggressive, aren't they? And she had a tic attack that it had gone on for about 3 hours. And I was like, I can't physically keep her safe now. This is like bad. So I ended up calling 111. They sent an ambulance. Nicole was ticking for like literally 7+ hours. But we couldn't get her from the house into the ambulance because she was just too like motor tics, hitting everybody, thrashing around. Like one paramedic had her legs, the other paramedic was on the phone trying to get authorization from the hospital to give her a sedative to get her into the van, because we couldn't, there was nothing else we could do. But she was like smashing her head on the floor, punching people in the face, punching herself in the face. So I had one arm, my partner at the time, he had the other arm, and it was bad, wasn't it? But that was then when your coprolalia, which is what the swearing tics are, started. And then now she swears probably worse than I do, and I'm pretty bad. So yeah.
I feel like with a lot of cases with Tourette's, people would find it maybe disrupted or, I don't know, affected their life in a big way. But it sounds like you guys welcome it. Could you even learn to like love it?
I think we just embraced it.
It is
what it is. There is no way of getting around it. And I've been brought up very much in a world of there's always someone worse off than you.
Sure.
My mum smashed that into me when I was a kid, like, don't be a victim, bad things happen, blah, 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 blah. So I guess, there was times at the very beginning that obviously now, but at the time I would take myself off into the bathroom. I'd be sobbing into a towel so that my kids couldn't hear me, and then compose myself and come back out, because I didn't know how to deal with it and I didn't know how to help her. And seeing your child suffering, when there's nothing you can do is just the most
Oh my God, yeah. And in
awful
lockdown
thing.
as well,
Massively.
without that support, like, and you're in the house, I can't imagine how much that probably would have exuberated the stresses. Because surely is stress a big thing in like manifesting more tics? Is that a thing, or
Any emotion, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like any kind of emotion heightens it. Like mine, for me, when I'm sad, I don't necessarily really tick as much as I normally would.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that when I cry, I get angry. So in the end, I end up getting worse anyway. So like anger, just
almost
smack yourself in the
magnifies
space.
your
Yeah,
emotions, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
whatever tick day you're having, depending on your mood, is kind of like she's in a happy, cheeky, annoying mood today. So if she starts ticking, it will be like
but it would just
cheeky,
be,
funny banter,
yeah,
like ticks, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like at school, is that a different case? Because I feel like I felt so many emotions when I was at college. I can't imagine having that and then having me like violently.
College actually isn't
Verbal
that bad.
diarrheaing.
In fairness, with my Tourette's, it's not actually that bad. All my because I only have like 4 tutors, so they don't really mind. Like,
Cool.
Some of them are like more on it than the others, but they kind of just like, they'll look at me and they'll go, "You want to go outside?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And then I'll go outside and they're like, I'll come back in after like 20 minutes and they're like, "Okay, basically, so what I've done is I've put it on canvas and whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, right, whatever."
Yeah.
But with people, it's because my Tourette's, it's so different every single day. Like I have this one school friend and I've known him since I started school, and then obviously we've come to college together. My Tourette's has hated him from day one. Like,
Oh,
never
really?
liked
Yeah,
him.
they're savage. It's a bit like me. They're savage.
I am
There's certain
so
people she picks on.
Oh, no.
Like literally.
It's so
Yeah.
bad. Like every single day, you've got like everyone, when I come in, they're like, because they know either who's going to get picked today. But he, bless him, like bless Ryan. He's, every single time I see him and I'm ticking, he's like, because he knows I'm going to smack him in the face,
Oh my
because
God.
I'm
Yeah, she's
really
savage.
bad. And he's like, "Cheers, mate." And obviously he's quite tall actually, but like I'm horrible to him, and I apologize every single time, and he just goes, "Shut up, right, carry on conversation," because he hates it when I say sorry. And most people that I've like grown up with,
Okay.
they hate it when I say sorry, because they're like, "I don't understand why you need to say sorry,"
Yeah.
but then I feel the need to.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think especially with your TikTok videos, that's been quite good at educating people on, like, say if you were in a room of strangers and you felt that extreme need to like apologize and stuff, maybe normalizing it a bit more would mean that you can be yourself and you don't have to worry about like constantly feeling on edge and like you're offending people. Was that the kind of...
Yeah, massively. And that's the thing that I've always told you, because you used to apologise all the time, didn't you? And I said, you've got to stop apologising because you can't help this.
Yeah.
If I thought you were doing this on purpose, 100% you need to apologise, because what is that behaviour?
Yeah.
But you're not doing it on purpose and you can't help what you do. So I have drummed into you. So you don't apologise. Rarely. Like the other day when we were in the queue and you, oh my God, she booted me. Oh, I've got a big bruise on my leg, right? And she booted me so hard and I was just like, oh, that hurt. And she was like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "It's fine. Don't apologise, it's fine." But inside I'm like, oh my God, that really hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't tend to apologise now, do you?
Not as
Because
much, no.
I don't like her to, because I don't feel she should.
Mm.
You do, like, you can't apologise for something you can't help.
100%. And is it that whole thing that you physically can't control it? It's like, does suppressing it make it come out more? I guess.
Suppressing it hurts my chest.
Right.
And it like, after like, because you can only suppress it for like a short amount of time, like maybe like 5 minutes at the most.
Wow.
And obviously it will, honestly, I'm in so much pain with my chest, and then it'll, after I kind of give up, it's just
An explosion.
it just goes mental.
Oh my God. Is there any like activities where you feel like it's quite dormant, or it kind of...
Well, I write poetry.
Nice.
Writing that's fine.
You used to do a lot of street dance, didn't you? And
Yeah.
that, for a long time, when she would dance, because she was focusing, she was good with it.
Yeah.
But then gradually, over time, you started to tick more and more when you were going to like your street dance lessons, weren't you? And so she ended up stopping that. And I do feel like it was a bit of a, was it because of the Tourette's and it was kind of starting to ruin it for her? I don't know. But music is normally your go-to for stuff, isn't it? If we're out and about, because whistling is something that sets her off.
Okay.
Which we have shared. I kind of hold back a lot of other things that set you
Yeah,
off, because
because
people have
seeing
now
in
used
public
it
and
against
that.
us
Yeah.
and set her off on purpose. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because you want to explain to people
Yeah.
But also you then get backlash because there are horrible people out there that...
How do you deal with that criticism?
Yeah, it's difficult. It can be really difficult. But
it depends on what it is though. Like if it's just like a random comment, I really don't care.
Yeah.
But obviously I was 13, 14 and I was getting death threats. Like
my
people
God.
messaging me telling me to go off myself, and they were like, you shouldn't be here, like you've got a disability, like actually just go. Or like they'd be like, oh, I hope when you go into a road you get hit by a car.
yeah, have a car crash and go, like
Wow.
all sorts of, honestly. And we did, and we've said this many times, that we did at that point sit and have a conversation, didn't we, about whether or not
Yeah, because it got that
the
bad.
internet was like a good place to be at this point, and whether or not we were doing the right thing for ourselves by
Yeah.
sharing and being so open, or
Yeah.
whether or not we should just shut it down and leave it to other people to do it. But
Yeah.
we decided
No, I didn't really
sod
care.
everybody else, and that's their problem, not ours.
For sure. I think as well, do you engage much with it? Because I don't know, I remember seeing a lot of content around probably that lockdown time when you said you started developing the kind of tics. And I remember there being reports coming out that kids on TikTok were developing Tourette's from watching other people with tics. Like, did you find that was something people were accusing you of, or like how do you deal with that?
I got accused of it a lot, but then you see like the different videos, like there, I don't know if anyone saw these, but like it was videos of like, you know, like hoodies, they wore it backwards,
Right.
and then they would like
Fake.
tick.
Yeah.
And I think it irritated me so much because I was just like, oh my God, you're like 5 and you do this, so please. Enough.
And the thing
Yeah.
is, though, as much as we laugh and joke, and we do share a lot of like the funny side of it, we've only shared very minimal bits of tick attacks and stuff.
Because I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah, which is
Sure.
absolutely fine. So we don't share that. But if people really understood all the like debilitating side of it, and the fact that it really does affect every single day of our lives, like coming here in my head, I'm processing the train if she starts ticking,
Yeah.
people on the train around us. I'm processing going through places where there's all these different noises, people whistling. We were walking up from the stairs and someone started whistling, and I was like, no, not now, no. And Nicole just sort of straight away was like this, and I was like, oh no, please don't start ticking now, because we've got to get up the stairs. We've got to walk. Like, so
Right.
the whole time, whenever you're doing anything, I'm processing, right, plan A, plan B, how's this going to work? What do we do? Like, essentially, you kind of have to have always a fallback plan of anything we do.
Sure.
You didn't end up, we went to Winter Wonderland the other night, and you didn't end up doing one of the rides, did you? Because
Yeah,
she
I
was
couldn't do
ticking
it.
too much.
Brilliant.
So like, it affects you, your everyday stuff, even
Yeah.
brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Like, it's things people don't think about. It genuinely affects our every single day life.
Sure.
It's just we don't make a big song and dance and be a victim about it. We just
Yeah.
embrace and share the fun, really.
Yeah, 100%. I think I want to just kind of round this up. I know you guys create awareness and you've got a really good reach on TikTok, but for people maybe that haven't seen the TikToks, how would you best like someone that maybe isn't acquainted with tics or Tourette's to kind of act around people that do have it? Like what is the best demeanor? Is it better to, I guess, as I said, acknowledge it, or to just kind of normalize it? What would you say?
Everyone is very different. If you saw someone in public and you were like, oh my God, they've got Tourette's, just smile. Just, you know, be normal. That, like, I think going up to them and being like, are you okay? Like, it would make me uncomfortable if someone came over and kept doing that. Like, that would make me uncomfortable. Just smiling as you go past, you're like, oh, you're right. Like, just like normal, how you'd react to everyone else. Like, we're still the same people that you are, just slightly
Just
different,
extra.
wired.
Just extra.
Love it.
Yeah, but it's everyone handles things differently. Like, I know people with Tourette's that don't like how I like being handled when people are
Right.
with me, who like don't want it to even be acknowledged. But then me, I think it's hilarious. I love bringing it into conversation. I think it's really funny, but some people don't. It just depends on the person. So just saying them, you go, you're right. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
The only other thing I would want to say is, because obviously you don't tick 24/7, and obviously this whole time Nicole's not been ticking.
Yeah,
Sure.
But that, like, people always then assume that because she's not ticking and she hasn't ticked for an hour, like, oh, you haven't got tics, you haven't
Yeah.
got Tourette's, you're a liar.
Right.
Like, so it's just enforcing that just because she can go hours in between tics, can't you? Like 4 or 5 hours before she'll tick again. So it's just, again, enforcing that when you have Tourette's, you don't tick 24/7. So just because she's not ticking now doesn't mean that she doesn't have tics.
Yeah. Perfect.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes, sister. So this is the part of the podcast where you spill the tea and we try not to. So of course I'm joined this week for Don't Spill the Tea with our special guests. And just to explain how this game works, it's a strange game. We basically react to the internet's funniest stories with tea in our mouth and try not to laugh.
Okie dokie.
Great.
Interesting.
Good.
You sound well up for it.
Oh my God.
Right, are you drinking now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, how much are you lot putting? I'm going to watch you two do it and then I'll do it. So I don't want to be the only one like with puffed cheeks. Do you know?
You can puff your cheeks up. Okay, ready? I was at an NFL game and something I had ate earlier just wrecked my stomach and left me with horrible gas. Like the kind which clears a room, it's so bad. So I was walking up the stairs to my seat mid-game and I really had to let one rip. Right then, the crowd cheered and I thought, this is the moment. What I didn't realise is that my ass was at the same level as a woman sitting in her seat on the aisle and I literally farted in her ear. I looked back at her as she looked at me with shock and disgust. I quickly turned away and climbed the stairs as fast as I could and blended into the crowd. I still think about her time to time. How horrible that truly must have been for her.
You're not full enough.
Oh my God. I couldn't not laugh at you.
You're like dripping. It's dripping. Oh my gosh. So thoughts on that story?
What? That is like a PTSD for that woman.
Horrible.
That is horrible.
You pay a lot of money to get to them games.
Yeah, you do.
Being violated.
To get like, can you imagine if she went home and she got pink eye or something like that?
Oh my God.
Layers to that story.
Oh my days.
Okay. I was set up on a blind date. We were texting for a bit before the date, but this was before camera phones, so we weren't able to swap photos. He told me he was 6'2", so I was expecting a giant since I'm 5 foot. The man rocked up looking like he just finished a hard night making toys for Santa. Not only was he short, but I was towering over him. He then accused me of lying about my height, saying I was obviously way taller than I had disclosed. It was the most surreal conversation I've ever had.
The short kings. Let it go, girls. Let it go. Be free.
Oh my God, no, catfishing like that's bad.
Yeah.
I went on a date with a guy years ago and he did not look anything like his picture, and height wise no, he totally wasn't the height he said he was. I don't like going like with guys that are shorter than me or my height because I like to wear my heels when I go out, right?
Yeah.
And nothing about being sizist, by the way, people.
Someone's going to be like, she is sizist. She won't date anyone younger, like smaller than her.
I definitely date younger.
Yeah, I know you do.
I'm marrying a guy who's 12 years younger than me, so you know.
He's 12. I thought you were going to say he's 12.
Period.
That would be a whole nother problem. Oh my God.
So that's
Oh my
why the
God.
police turned up.
The truth comes out now, Jodie.
Nicole, whose side are you on?
To be fair, I'm just kind of flipping.
Oh.
Right.
So he turns up, he's really short. He's also wearing a cardigan, which like, I'm sorry, again, people that wear cardigans, men wearing cardigans, it's fine. But it was like a massive, like his nan. No, it wasn't. Yeah, like, no, it wasn't okay.
His nan.
No, it wasn't okay. It wasn't. No.
Any cardigarian wearing men out there?
Yeah, sorry.
Keep them at home.
Yeah, it's an ick.
It's an ick. Right.
Okay. Wow. Getting a real good sip in there.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting married soon and I've been sending out my party invites. I had a whole debate with my friends about whether to invite my ex and his partner because we're still part of the same friendship group, but I don't speak to him as much anymore. After I sat thinking about it over the invites I was writing, I decided it would be fine and I sent them out. A week or so went past and I received a text from my ex who sent me a photo of the invite I'd sent him with the text saying, "Is this supposed to be funny?" My stomach dropped when I realised I'd written, "Please join Alex and Richard on their happy day." Richard is my ex's name.
I don't know what just went on there. I think I zoned out. Wait, what was the story?
She'd sent an invite to her
God
ex
take
to
Lauren.
her wedding,
Yeah.
but written her and her ex's name rather than
For the wedding.
Oh my god!
I'd be more that's like a whole Ross and
concerning.
Rachel situation. She has no idea what that means, but that's the whole Friends, Ross and Rachel situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not good.
Oh, is it not good then? No.
I'll be honest. I've been engaged before, right?
Like, I'm
And
scared that it's gonna
my nan, God rest her, she's dead now. She really isn't she had favourite grandchildren,
Right.
favourite children, blah blah. My brother was her favourite grandchild, not me. I got engaged. She sent me a card to say, happy engagement to. I was was at that time marrying a guy called Lee at this
Right.
point, to Jodie and Jeff. I was like, who the fuck's Jeff?
Oh, it wasn't even an ex.
No.
Fucking hell.
No, there was never a Jeff. It's like that whole, my name's Jeff. You know what I mean? Like, what the
Oh,
fuck?
I just love when old people make names up.
Bet that
so
was
bad.
Bet that was a fun conversation between you and Lee. Who's Jeff then?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't exist. Yeah, that's what they all say.
My ex did this last time. I knew this was going to happen. I thought you were different, and you're going to be like, well, hold on. There is
a
no
whole
Jeff.
storyline now. Like,
Yeah, it's good. I'm good with that, sir.
Yeah, nice.
oh dear.
Okay. A guy once told me how he loved the feeling of wearing casts. So he'd put casts on himself for days or weeks on end, even if it meant he couldn't drive and would be stuck at home for the entire time. He'd use vacation time just to wear full leg and arm casts.
So weird. So weird.
Why would you say that?
Because it did. Oh my god. That is like, what is wrong with people?
Not the cast fetish.
Oh my god, I saw that on Obsessions. Someone liked to put, he was like, I love the feeling of cast. It feels like I'm getting a hug. And I'm like, mate, you actually need to go to a psych ward.
That is so bad. That has really come out of my nose.
Do I need to move this? Because I keep moving.
No,
it.
it's fine. It's
No,
fine.
yeah,
Don't
you
worry.
can leave
Oh
it.
my
Okay.
god, that was so weird.
really.
What is
So
wrong with
that was a
people?
real thing. You saw that on.
Yes.
So that
on
must have been
YouTube.
the story. That must have been the story that you've seen then.
But he wasn't dating. He wasn't dating anyone.
Well, clearly he is now. And I don't know how long that's going to last. I'm not going to lie. That is so weird.
Strange.
There was that lady who eats her husband's ashes.
Yes. She was like,
She
eating
does.
my
I can't eat dip dabs anymore. It makes me think of them because she literally sucks her finger, sticks her finger in the ashes, and then puts it back in. It just makes me think of dip dabs, and I'm like,
God.
no, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Not the dip down.
How long does that last?
I love a good dib dab.
Well, this is the thing. It's like, what do you do when she gets to the end of his ashes?
Oh my god.
Like
She's gonna be
ate
eating his
him.
toes,
She's literally ate her
his
husband.
fingers,
Yeah.
his bum,
Pee.
like literally. Can you imagine?
Why do you go to bums straight away?
I didn't actually. I went toes. Toes.
Fingers.
Yeah.
She was stuck on.
Toes.
She was stuck on toes.
Oh,
Imagine toes.
well, just the contrary, I don't like eating ashes or casts.
No, me neither. What, eating casts?
I just
or
don't
wearing
wear
them?
Sorry, I
casts.
don't know.
Dear.
All right, I've got one more.
Okay. Make it a good one.
Pressure. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, a few years ago, I was going out on a ton of dates from Hinge. Anyway, I set up a dinner date with a guy. I got there first and decided to just go ahead and get a table. A couple minutes after being seated, I look up and I see my date coming toward me. I get up and I say hello and give him a big hug. I sit down, ask him how his weekend's going. He just stands there and he's like, yeah, good, with a smile on his face. Then asks me how I'm doing. I answer, but in my head, I'm like, why isn't this guy sitting down? We chit-chat about something else for a minute and then I realise he's not sitting down because he's the waiter.
What?
Brother, that's so gross. Go on, get out your nose.
Ow! Polite to the star. You're gonna sit down then. No, I've actually got a full-time job.
That would be so awkward.
funny.
So awkward.
How does she not clock? Should he had an outfit on?
Maybe,
Oh, dear.
maybe the outfit of like the you know.
Well, surely he was in like a waiter outfit.
Maybe that was his style.
Oh my god.
You know, bow tie with a apron.
Like a man in uniform.
Oh my days. Well, at least he wasn't wearing a cardigan.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
True. There's pros and cons to the situation.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Thanks so much for joining us on Tea at 4. How'd you find it?
It's been really good fun.
I'm quite
Had a
wet
really good
now.
time. Yeah,
Little
Nicole's
bit
wet.
damp.
Yeah.
It's always, fine.
But it was very good.
If people want to find you on socials to see more of your content around Tourette's, general content, where can they find you?
Instagram and TikTok, both the same username. It's Jodie_Lynn official. And then
Mine is for my TikTok is Nicole.Lynn official. I can't remember my Instagram, but it should be linked on there.
We'll link it below.
Yeah, it's fine.
Love it. Perfect. Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
And for you guys listening or watching, if you have any funny stories, please send them to us at tea4@Jungle Creations because we want to hear them, we want to react to them, and we'll see you for our next episode. Bye.